Hey guys, it's Marissa. I'm kind of nervous, so don't judge me too hard. This is gonna be my first nail video that I've ever done, and what it's gonna be is literally just me going through a basic full set, and I'll do some artwork at the bottom. At the end of it. You'll see everything will kind of tie together, but for now, I'm just sticking on my forms, and yes, I use forms with every single set that I do. It's really rare if I ever use tips. So right now I'm just sticking it on, and I had placed a sticker that you get with the form on the back of it just for stability, because when you're applying your beads, you are kind of applying a little bit of pressure to move your bead around and everything that you need to do. So I always put that sticker on the back just to make sure that it'll stay where you need it to stay. And then you just see me going with my first layer of primer. This, if you want to add another layer of primer after you add your first layer, that's completely up to you. You can do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. There's really no reasoning behind it. I just feel like maybe you'll get a little bit better adhesion if you do. Like I said, some nail techs do it, some nail techs don't. There's no right or wrong way, just whatever works for you. And right now I just went in with my bead. It was kind of a medium to big size bead, and it's because she's going a little bit longer um, with her length. But you have to remember too, every single nail bed size will be different. So you won't be picking up the same exact bead size with every single nail, because say if you pick up that same bead that I had with that one and I place it on the thumb, I would get no length at all because a lot of the product would be within the width of it. But for your first bead, for the pinky anyway, you always want to go like a medium-ish, like that's a big bead for the pinky, if that makes sense. Yeah, that would be a big bead for the pinky. And as you see, I have it right in between. You want to make sure you don't pick up too much liquid, and you want to make sure you don't pick up too small of a bead or anything. So that's how I get it to be right in between. I don't want it to be runny, and I don't want it to be dry. I always say with your first bead, yes, it is okay to go with a little bit more of a drier bead, only because as you see, it was still movable, but it was dry enough to the point where it wasn't sliding all over. It went exactly where I needed it to go, and it did the job. And right now, the first bead isn't your stress bead. It isn't anything, for me anyway, important. This is just the base, I guess you can say. Because as you see, I keep swiping down, I keep pushing in the sides. I'm getting the shape as close as I need it to be, to do less filing in the end. This bead is literally just for the shape, and now you'll see me going with my cuticle bead. This is now just, like I said, to create a little bit more of my base. I'm going in with the front half now of it. My first thing that I do right when I place down my bead is I go in with the sides. You want to make sure to always make sure you're wiping the sides. You want to make sure none of the acrylic gets on the skin. Oh my gosh, I cannot stress that enough. Please make sure you're not getting acrylic on the skin because it is a son of a gun to take it off. So yes, please just always make sure to be swiping down on the sides. And now you'll see me going with my structure bead. I'm going to place it right below-ish the cuticle bead. And this is just for structure. You want to make sure you're creating a really strong, nice apex. And the first thing that I do right when I place it down is I tap the very very top of the bead just to blend. You're not swiping up, you're not moving around or moving it around or anything. You were literally just tapping it down just to make sure that everything's blended. And then you'll see me go from there, swiping down, swiping down, swiping down, and that's just to be making everything really smooth. You want to make sure that no product stays in one area for too long, or else you'll just have a big bump in the end. um, but yeah, you'll see me, like, for the most part, I try not to touch the middle of the beads. You'll see with the other fingers that I actually do. I try not to always touch the middle of the beads. I try to make sure I'm mainly going off on the bottom of the bead, more towards the bottom of it, only because wherever I place down that bead, wherever I place it down is for a reason, and that was because for that bead in specific was for my apex. I wanted to make sure that the bead kind of stayed right there, but I was also still smoothing it downwards. And I had already did the other hand, so this is why I'm pouring more liquid. Yeah, I'm pouring more liquid because I had already did the other hand, so I'm making sure that I have enough, and that is enough. I poured enough to do the rest of the fingers. But as you see, like I said before, I already applied my first layer of primer, and now I'm doing it again. And I'm just squeezing the sides of it, making sure that the form didn't loosen up or do anything crazy while I was working on the pinky. And see how I stayed in the acrylic powder a little bit longer than I did with the pinky, because I knew that I needed a bigger bead because this nail bed was a little bit bigger than the pinky. So then you'll see me go right at the free edge of the nail, and I'm pushing it from side to side, focusing on my shape. I want to make sure that she was getting coffin. I wanted to make sure that everything was going where it needs to be, and you'll see me just I point her finger downward. Let gravity do your work, you guys. You don't need to stress out. Point their finger downwards and just keep focusing on your sides, bringing in your sides. Point the finger down, focus on your sides. Point the finger down, focus on your sides. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing is right now I'm just trying to smooth everything out. You'll see me, I'm just keep focusing on my sides, bringing everything in, make sure everything is kind of flush with the nail. And then once I see that my acrylic is no longer moving, once it's more on the dry side, that's when I'll start touching the top of it, because I work so hard to get my shape down. And if I would have just started swiping down the moment I put it down, because that's when it was still wet, then it would have just all been a mess. That's why I like to make sure I'm just focusing on the sides and focusing on my shape. And then once I see that it dries up and it's not so flexible, that's when I will start touching the top and making sure that everything's smooth and flush. And I do that just because I know, regardless, even if the bottom, your first layer, is a little bit bumpy, even then you still fix it with your other beads, because your other beads smooth everything out and make sure everything is level. You'll see once you start doing nails, it isn't bad at all. It's actually really fun to do it. I really do love using forms. I hear a lot from other people saying that forms is hard. I really don't think so. But yeah, then now you'll see me going with my cuticle bead again, and I just place it down. You'll see me go straight for my side and straight for the other side, and I'm just gonna start swiping down, making sure everything's blended and nice and smooth and pretty. And yeah, that's really the same exact process that I have for about every single finger. So I'm probably gonna fast forward throughout the other fingers. I'll maybe pause and talk throughout a little bit of it. But yeah, that's how I did my first two. And as you see, hold on too. As you see, I keep moving the hand. I mean, you can't necessarily tell, but I always move their fingers around. As you see right here, I'm moving her finger. I'm looking at it from the side. I'm seeing where I need product. I'm seeing where I need to smooth it down a little more. I am continuously moving her hand. You want to make sure you're looking at your nail through every angle there possibly is, and you want to do that um, because how you're looking at it from your eye level, it might not look the same from the side. Everything might look very smooth from if you're looking at it straight down, but once you lift it up, once you look at it from the side, you might see some bumps that you didn't see before. So you want to make sure before you finish your finger that you're always constantly looking at every angle that there is to possibly look at for the nail. And yeah, probably the rest of the nails are just, like I said, about um, the same exact process. So yeah. Okay, and then now I went ahead and fast forwarded to me taking off all the other forms except for the last one. To take off a form, it's really easy. You literally just pull on it. But now we're gonna go with the drill process, and drilling is pretty honestly really easy at this point for me. Because as you see, I get the shape honestly really close to what I want it to be. So all I'm doing is just getting off the little you see them, the little like super skinny like leftover, I guess, side acrylic that is there, that just kind of happens. And now I just go over the top of the nail. The only thing I can really say that could help you is just keep your drill moving. Please never keep it in one spot. If you have it in one spot, then that'll just create a like dent in the nail. And you want to remember to just work smarter, not harder, you know. You want to just remember to keep your drill moving, keep it moving. The drill bit that I have is a safety bit, so it's round at the top. I don't know if you can notice it or not. And I just have that just because, I don't know, this is the one that I guess I was used to. This is the one that I've always used. I've had it for a really long time. It's a ceramic safety bit. I believe it's fine. And just remember, before you get done filing completely, to just check your nail from all angles. You want to look from the left side, the right side, up it, down it, like straight on, anything that you need to do to make sure that there are no bumps. Um, but yeah, that's the main thing that I can say is just keep your drill moving. Focus on your sides. Make sure you're getting your shape as close as you possibly can, just to kind of, so you don't have, let the drill do the work, so then you don't have to do too much with your hand file. If you see, I keep running my thumb across the nail, and I do that just to make sure like I feel no bumps. I go over it quite a bit. Now I'm just going around the cuticle area, being very, very safe. Remember not to touch their skin, because even if it is a safety bit, it still can get hot. That doesn't change the fact that it can get hot. So just always remember to keep your drill moving. I usually have my pinky out and on my other hand for stability. You want to be as stable as you possibly can when you're working with your drill, because it would rather be safe than sorry. Just be as stable as you possibly can. And yeah, this part is kind of boring. So I'm probably just gonna go quickly through this one too. Okay, and then now I'm gonna go in and switch her position. I flip it to where I will be looking at it the way that she looks at it, because I feel like whenever I go to shaping, this is a very important part to most people, which is their shape. I've been told so many times by so many different people that even if they chose the wrong color and they walked out with like a color that they didn't really like or anything like that, as long as the shape is good, that they're happy. And I honestly file kind of weird. I flipped their hand in a different position, as you were able to see. I flip it and I make sure I have my file straight up against the nail. I know it's really hard to see. I'm trying to work on what angle works better, but I knew that this angle that I had in for the rest of the video wouldn't have worked, because you wouldn't have been able to see. But I know that's how I file, and I like it that way because, like I said, because then I'm able to see exactly what I'm doing. I'm able to see exactly what they will see when she flips her hand. And I just kind of keep going over it. The main thing that I can say is go with really long strokes and continue to kind of press down a little hard. But as you see, whenever I am filing, I have my fingers really around her skin to where the file isn't hitting her skin. It's only hitting my glove and my thumb. And I just go ahead and keep doing that to every single nail. Okay, and then now we're gonna go in with the design part. The inspiration that I got for this specific set is from a nail tech in, I believe, Texas, and her Instagram name is Kaynailedit. She's super, super amazing at what she does, and when my client had brought in a picture of what she had wanted, and I saw that it was by her, I got so excited because the set was super beautiful, and all I'm using is these are just regular, super cheap, basic nail polish stripers, and I got them from my local nail supply, and all I'm doing is I just painted on the colors, and I blended it from the blue, green, yellow, orange, and the brush that I'm using is actually a gel ombre brush, and that's what it's supposed to be used for, but I decided to use it for this, and I feel like it just works really well because I did use, on the other hand, I did use actually the regular brush, like a kind of like a cleanup brush, to when you usually like clean up around the cuticle. That's what brush I had used on the other hand, but I found that I needed to keep adding product and adding product and adding more nail polish because it kept taking away so much. While I felt like this brush, it worked really well. All I'm dipping it in is acetone, like pure acetone. That's what I get. I get a big old gallon from Sally's Beauty Supply. And yeah, that's all I'm doing is I just keep wiping off my brush, blending in the colors where they need to be blended in, and then you'll see me kind of slightly go over the white just so it doesn't look too white. Like, see, like how it has like that kind of hue, very, very subtle hue of purple, or the very subtle hue of pink for this finger anyway. And that's all I just keep doing is I just kept tapping on the harsh lines, make sure there are no harsh lines. Right now, I was just making sure that the colors were unison for each finger. We didn't want to get too wild. We wanted them to look cool and different, but at least the same thing on each hand. So that's what we're shooting for. But yeah, that's all I can say is you can use a regular brush if you have it, but if you have a gel ombre brush, that works. I feel like for me that works a lot better just because it doesn't take off so much product. It kind of gives you a little bit more of a sporadic watercolor look. And yeah, I was super, super happy with how this came out. This is basically the same process with every single finger with just different colors, so I'm probably just gonna go ahead and skip through that. If you guys would like to see like more of like an actual detailed video on how to do it and what I use and everything, just leave me comments down below and I'll look into that too. But for now, yeah, this is it. I don't want the video to be too long. But guys, thank you so much for watching. This is my first video, so please leave me comments on what I could improve on and anything like that. Please like, subscribe, help me out. But yeah, thank you guys so much again. Till next time.